Why would you lease a property? Why would you rent in Bali when for $150,000 you could buy and build a beautiful house like my brother Katut has done? Well, that whole property is on a very small portion of land. It's called an ara, and it's approximately 100 square meters, so it's 10 meters by 10 meters or thereabouts. Inside that, he's got a 2-story, 3-bedroom house. It's a beautiful place with a kitchen. It's got a downstairs living area, an upstairs entertaining area. He's got a big deck with a giant temple on it, which I'll probably put a barbecue on. And he built that from start to finish for in Australian dollars for probably close to $100,000. Now, having said that, it's not easy for a Westerner to do the same thing, because there are certain laws and rules in Bali about what you can and can't do as far as owning property. Now, some people like myself are in a fortunate position because my wife is a local, she's Indonesian, so that means she's allowed to own property, and then by proxy I therefore own it as well. And there are quite a number of Westerners who have come over here. They've married a local lady or man, and they've gone down the property market like that. There's other people who have come over here with considerable more resources, and they've become an investor, a property investor. They've set up a proper company, and they have they own, develop, and then lease out other properties to make an income. You've got to be careful with some of the laws and rules and regulations regarding that, and that's a discussion for another day. Yesterday we started preparing the ground for excavator who arrived last night, and today we're going to head down there, see what we can do, start cleaning up my block of dirt. I've just found out I'm going to lose my bloody banana tree. It's got some little bananas on it too. I'm pretty chuffed because I've got some bananas, and he says no, I'm going to put the tractor straight through that one. So I guess I'll just have to hang around till next year and get some more bananas. Maybe those ones might fruit. I don't know. Damn it! I got home yesterday and I was watching a video of when we were walking around through the block, and I was puffing and panting. Earlier than that, we were hacking on the grass. It was 37 degrees. I was sweating like nothing else, and I tell you what, I'm not very fit. We know that, but it's all good. We managed.
How much?
Yeah.
I think how much?
We managed to get it sorted.
I think this one.
I'll try and keep the microphone a bit further away from my mouth, because I do pant and huff and puff a bit. Oh, right, so check this out. We started. Oh. I'm wondering how many snakes we see. Gotta see a couple, I reckon. Okay, I defy anyone in Australia or New Zealand or most of the Western world to find someone who goes onto the building site, a contractor, before he starts up. He's just warmed his excavator up. He burns some incense, puts a little prayer down. Now he's down the bottom here of the property, having another little prayer, putting some more incense down, and just asking for good fortune, a good day. It's just about karma, about looking after each other and looking after what they're doing. It's so different. Peaceful, lovely people. Certainly not the tradies that you'd expect. Not where I come from anyway, but we're going to find out more. So we're only about an hour and a half in, maybe 2 hours. He's cleaned up the first site almost completely. Oh my God, I'm wringing with sweat. It's just falling off me, and I'm not drinking Bintang. Oh, straight cold water. Oh, I must be thirsty. Anyone that knows me will know why. Oh, this is great. It's nice to be able to actually see clearly where the boundaries are and start making a plan. It's really hard when you're just looking at a piece of paper and you think, oh, it must go from about there to there, and you can sort of plan it. And when you come down here, you try and work out where those marks are, but to actually have it laid out flat we're going to get the site resurveyed so that we know once it's flat and prepared, we know exactly where the boundaries are, because we've knocked a couple of the posts out already, but we'll put them back in as close as we can get to it. There's a fair bit of work down off that edge there. It's a pretty big drop down to the creek, and we've got to actually reclaim a little bit of land there. The lands department said our land actually goes about 3 meters from, about 7 meters from that red post in the middle. You can see it past my drink bottle right there. So about 7 meters from there straight out into the water. And they said you can put a retaining wall up and section off or block off the, not block the creek, but stop the erosion. Then you'll get another 30 square meters for nothing other than the cost of that. Or if we don't do anything, we're going to keep losing more and more property. So okay, we'll put a retaining wall up. It's going to be safer, plus it gives us a little bit more land to build on. So the easy way to describe it now, from that post, you can see where the tractor is there. There's another orange thing right near where the bucket is, down to about here to the red post, down into the creek and along the creek right to those big trees at the back, pretty much. Oh, so there's a bit of height difference, a bit of fill to be required, or a bit of maybe a 2-story approach or something. But we've got pretty good access. So we come up from here. Oh, thanks, brother. Yeah, perfect. And we'll come down the drive and then into the property that way. Somewhere here, possibly where the big pile of rubbish is going to be a pool, or we might put the pool down the far end. I just don't know yet. It's sort of, we have to wait and see. I've got an architect that's in the family. Fee's cousin, first cousin, is an architect, a very good one as well. He's going to come along in a few weeks and have a look at it, and that's why I want to get it cleaned up so he can start sort of working on the best use of the land for what we want. We definitely want to try and get a home and income out of it. So we want to do, we want it to look pretty. The more I look around here, look at this beautiful house there with the nice vines and the pots and everything. It's just lovely here. Nice big temple on the corner. And such a lovely, quiet little village. And the store owners came out this morning and wished me good morning, everything. My neighbours on the creek side. Oh, I think I'm going to lose a few kilos here. Just sitting around watching this guy work on the digger. I'm losing weight. It's good having Katut here too, because he's helping to do our a bit of interpretation, just to make sure that we know what we're doing and we're doing the right stuff. Happy, excited. Oh, I've got so much sweat in my eyes I can hardly see. I want to explain in detail why I always recommend for people who wanted to come over to Bali and buy, build, develop or settle permanently, why it's so important that you give yourself 3 or 6 months before you're actually expecting to be here permanently. Come here, find some temporary accommodation and hole up for the next 3 to 6 months. If you're looking to find a villa to rent and you want to get a good price, you want a long-term rental and you want to negotiate, very much it's going to take you a couple of months generally to find a good buys. A mate of mine started in the $40,000+ a year and ended up less than $20,000 a year for a much nicer villa 12 months later, but he had spent a lot of money to find that beautiful place, and he went to 20 or 30 different villas and they all look different to what their photos do. The photos might have been taken years ago, but it's not easy. But sometimes you can walk in, find a nice place, put your money down and Bob's your uncle. So the reason that it takes, that I suggest 6 months at least, I can let you in on a little secret. When I first vlogged about my new block of land, what I didn't say, and you never show your cards until you've actually won the pot. And what I mean by that is the further block, there's actually two sections here. The far section has a very steep access, and because of that, the price was much cheaper than you would normally expect to pay. Around here, you're paying about $45,000, sometimes more, for 10 meters, or 10 meters by 10 meters. Now, to give you an idea, the corner of that building down to this post, back to there and back up there, that little piece of dirt there, here in Western Canggu area, is about $45,000, and they get worse for that. You can buy them out in the village for a couple of $1,000s. It depends on how far away you want to go, but the block next to it was well undervalued. This is about 3 ara, and at 45,000 per ara, this could have easily gone for $130,000. But it was dirty. It was hard to even walk around. You couldn't easily define the boundaries. It needed a little bit of work, and the father, the man who used to own it, had passed away last year, and it took quite a while of negotiating and toing and froing with his son, who hadn't fully inherited the property yet, and his wife and the family, till we could come up with a price. In the long run, we got it well under what it would have cost per ara, well under. And the main reason, not the only reason, but one of the reasons that we wanted it, was if you look where the road is, it's almost flat. Okay, there's a bit of a dip down there, but it certainly gives us access to not only this property, but also the block at the back. So I've got a beautiful property here. It's a bit of a wedge shape. I've got a beautiful property here we can build, and we can probably build right out to the river there. And then we've got the second part of the block over the other side there that's got the steep access, but we're going to cut away some of the hill, level that whole block up so it's almost one level for the whole section. And there's no way in the world, if they knew what we were doing, we would have got it for that price. So keep your information to yourself. Don't tell them too much. As soon as they find out there's a Westerner wants to buy it, then the price goes up $10,000 or $20,000 overnight, and we had that happen. But with my wife being Indonesian, we managed to mitigate some of that. On the first property with the steep access, the minute they found out there was a Westerner, they decided not to put the road access in, and so that sort of left us a bit high and dry. Give yourself time. Don't be in a hurry. There are millions of beautiful properties out here. There are millions of villas that are already made. There's lots and lots of investments to be made over here that are sound and legal and almost trouble-free if you do it the right way and if you get the right advice. But don't rush into it, because it could be catastrophic. I really mean that. So there we go. Take your time. Do your due diligence. Make sure you know what you're buying. Make sure you know where your boundaries are, and make sure you know what the zoning is. If you look up over the hill here, there's some rice paddies. I'll see if I can take you up there. Some beautiful terraced rice farms just here. And that's my land there. This is all designated for development, whereas that's called the green belt. But then there's a massive big resort or apartment complex going in over there. It's a shame to see the land cut up, but unfortunately urban development is happening everywhere around the world, no exception to Bali, and it is what it is. So the driveway is going to sort of come in on a bit of an angle. It's a huge big 7 metre wide road here, which is great because it gives us plenty of bit of a turning circle and some parking out the front. And the front of my land starts here by that post. That was all jungle yesterday. You can see that other post here. So we sort of come down. There's a little extra on the bottom of our block. Down from here, that's another extra ara that I'll tell you what, I wish I could get, but it's owned by someone else. At this point, I can't get to it. So that's the edge of my land, goes along that cutting there, right out here, and believe it or not, 3 metres into the creek. Now you can see, if I come right out the side there, there's actually my boundary is over there by the rocks, by the edge of the water, and I'm sort of hoping to put a bit of a retaining wall along the creek or along the creek line, and then build it up maybe as a nice little garden area. It's probably a little bit too big to be building out over, although we could possibly put some pylons down or something, because there's good solid rock down under that. Hello, nice next door neighbours. And lovely. Look, this morning I came down here to help the digger driver, just to make sure we knew what was going on. And there's lovely ladies here at the Warong turned around and gave me a couple of bags of rice. Now we haven't got a flying fox hooked up yet, but I tell you what, it was a good baseball to the toss. Threw it over to us in a plastic bag. It was lovely. Bit of nasi kuning. So yeah, the boundary does go out a little bit. This is pretty old established area, and there was lots of trees and roughage there. There's some, it keeps going right down along here, so we've got quite a bit of riverfront to have to try to deal with. Hello. And we'll sort of go out to not quite the edge of that little extra bit there, so we'll probably end up doing a little bit of repatriation work for the neighbour as well, I think, just to help that secure that bank a bit. But the creek should go actually straight down. I'm leaving a little stand of bamboo. It obviously gives these guys some shelter, but it also gives us a bit of a feature by the edge of the river. And you can start to see the overall size and shape of the property all the way along there, back here to where that retaining wall is. There's a nice little corner. I think what I'm going to do here is end up doing a retaining wall that encompasses like a bit of a curve, so I've got some stability, and also maybe put water tank or some more gardens or something up the top there. Try and stabilise that bank a little bit further. It needs some work. There is a good retaining wall on this side, but we can't undermine it too much, so we'll get the engineers in. Now we can see where we're going, what we're doing, and we've got a little bit more to do down here in the bottom corner. Our little wall stops halfway through the creek. I'll move, I'm getting run over. So the little wall on that side, on the river, stops about halfway through where there's a little washaway. So again, a little bit more engineering works needs to be done there just to secure the bank to the edge of our boundary. It's looking massive. It looks a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. I was really worried that once you get all the rubbish off it and clean it up. But we've got a lovely spot here to have a nice little home and income. I'm hoping that most of that side will be able to be used for residential units or long-term units. That's my plan at this point, but it really depends on what the powers that be, the architects and that say. Maybe my house over this side up along the river, looking out on this beautiful sort of riverscape here. It's just lovely. And right next to the beer shop, they got beer. So I can just see a nice little house here along the side, because it comes right up to here. I think what we're going to do is have a small road following along this retaining wall, and that'll give those people access. So it sort of gives me quite a bit of land to have a couple of ara here for my own house, and hopefully a nice little spot for a pool. It's not going to be massive, but you know what, it's certainly going to be a massive step up from what I'm doing. And the income I'm hoping we can earn from the second block, from the second side, will mean into my retirement we've got enough of a permanent income to be able to look after ourselves and keep it going. There is big limitations over here, no matter if you're married to an Indonesian or not. There are significant limitations to what sort of work you can do, if any at all. You have to get the right sort of permits, you have to have the right permissions to be able to work. But I certainly don't need permission from my wife to be able to make money. And you are allowed to make investment income, but you're not allowed to work. So it's a bit of a careful proposition. You have to be very sure about what you're doing, about having the right permits. I'll tell you what I am going to do. I am going to be talking in the near future about the permits and the plans and the process of building and whatever in Bali. Unlike anything in Australia, firstly, we didn't need to get any plans to clean the block up, to do any basic landscaping sort of establishment. and over here you need to get a permission from the Banjar, from the local small council, from the village boss, I guess, to allow you to put up commercial or residential units or whatever. So we'll go through that process, and I'll explain to you the costs and the details, because I'm sure people are interested to know what else is involved other than just the straight I want to move to Bali. There's going to be a lot more headaches and a lot more thoughts on it, but yeah, look, I'm absolutely wrapped. Listen, thanks for your comments. There's only a couple of funny ones, and look, I am fully aware of the engineering and the difficulties on this property. I know over my shoulder here is rice paddies and they're full of water, and I know what that land can do. I also know this creek because we bought the land during the middle of a really bad wet season, and I know what the high and low water lines are. So it's not like we just woke up one day and said let's buy it. My brother Katut has owned land up here for quite some time. He knew the area, knows the property, and we bought it based on his observations as well as others. You can see on the creek across from our place where the high water mark has been. It's very, very low, so that means it's got good water runoff. The ground here had a little bit of moisture on this side, so obviously any of the retaining walls and the foundations are going to have drainage put through them. We've got a great place to drain it down to because there's a whole creek just across there from us, and there is some water already starting to come down the hill from where we've been cleaning stuff up. So look, yes, we are fully aware of the aquatic nightmare that we could be taking on board, but we are doing it with a little bit of insight, with some expert opinion, and I'm going to bring those people into play when we get through that part. So this whole series of videos is just an information about our journey through the whole renovation or the whole building process, so you can understand just how many headaches and how easy, and the cost involved as well. Look, I know putting a development application at home can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Over here it certainly doesn't require quite the same stringent regulation, but it also comes with bigger dangers. Because they don't necessarily need a geotech report, people tend not to do it. They think, oh well, it'll be fine. Every builder or half the builders will say, no, you don't need that. Probably because they're not making any money out of it, I think. But look, you will get told things that you are led to believe. You've got no reason not to, and then you find out that person just doesn't really know what he's talking about. He maybe just makes little single story houses or cabins or something. To do this properly, I'm looking at doing this as a long-term, lifelong investment. Something that my kids are going to take advantage of. Certainly something that Jonathan, Fee, and my stepson, can take an advantage of and get an income from the rest of his life too. So we're doing this well. I'm doing this in part for you guys too, so you can understand the whole process and the pitfalls and the triumphs, and I'm hoping there's more of the latter. But look, I'm just blown away. A couple of $1,000, this place looks like $1 million better. If I wanted to sell right now it's been so much more clearly outlined. What we're going to do today, we're putting the driveway in. So we've got some driveway base, some crushed limestone. They're bringing 3 dump trucks of driveway in today, so we're going to be able to get in and out of our property nicely, and that'll give us good access because the wet season is coming up. We've got some retaining walls that have to be looked at in the next month or so, because once the wet season starts, we won't be able to do quite as much as we want to. So we've got to get onto that pretty quickly. And once we put a base down here, they recommend very strongly you leave it at least a year or two before building on it, depending on the quality of the dirt, before you start to build, because it settles the dirt and settles the substrate, especially where there's been a lot of digging. So we're going to check that out. We'll keep you in the loop, and thanks so much for your letters, for your encouragement, for your comments. Please subscribe, and listen, I'm going to tag it on the end, guys, but thank you so much to Yarram Properties, because you guys not only sponsoring Bali Donate, but also supporting our channel. And there are so many options. There's so many ways of owning or living in Bali. And it's not just about taking on a 10 or 20 year lease. It's not just about marrying a local so you can buy land, or setting up a company so that you can own it through a trust or something. There are other alternatives, and Yaron have the lease for life, which is an excellent way of investing and also having something while you're investing that you can live in. So you get your money back and you make some money on the capital gain. I reckon that's about the best deal going, but my deal, hopefully, is going to work out all right for us. So thanks guys, thanks Yaron for your support, and thanks Katut, KW2s. Oh my God, if it wasn't for my little brother Katut, who lives just up over my shoulder, hang on, just up there somewhere, where is he there? I wouldn't be here, and I certainly wouldn't be as excited as I am about the journey ahead. Thanks guys, love your work, and I'll see you when we've got something else to tell you. Bye bye.